Laughing at the very notion.
No one's going to catch them. I think we saw from Boston last night that they have enough weapons to keep up. OKC had an opportunity late in that game. Paul George missed the shot. There was a couple of free throws, and it was kind of a 2 to 4 point game. And you just know you can't have 4 or 5 empty possessions late in the game against the Warriors, and that's what happened, and the Warriors finally broke away.
Those possessions might not be so empty in the absence of Russell Westbrook. He will come back at some point here, and the Thunder do look good. But as you look at the Warriors now, who's the biggest threat to them in the Western Conference? Is it OKC?
No, it's still Houston. I think Houston lost a lot when they lost the defensive players. Everyone had talked about that. And so losing Trevor Ariza, losing Mabute, these are guys that were so big because they allowed guys to just go score, and then they did all the dirty work. They did the defense. They did the rebounding. So losing those guys and adding Carmelo does add a different element to them, but it doesn't. I don't feel like it makes up for what they lost.
All right, we will see. We mentioned the Celtics. They played Philly last night. We'll have highlights of that coming up in just a little bit as well. But to the NFL, where drama continues to swirl around the New York Football Giants, and Odell Beckham continues to be the focus. Yesterday, it was team owner John Mara expressing his unhappiness with the team's 1-5 start and with Beckham's recent televised interview with us on ESPN, in which the superstar receiver questioned his quarterback. Here's Mara on Beckham.
I wish he would create the headlines by his play on the field as opposed to what he says and does off the field. I think he needs to do a little more playing, a little less talking.
All right, our cast of thousands just continues to grow and grow. Dominique Foxworth is here, and Damian Woody, I will start with you. Anyone who follows D. Wood on social knows you had very strong thoughts on this yesterday on Instagram. Please share.
Yeah, it's just real convenient how everyone uses Odell Beckham Jr. as a convenient punching bag for why the Giants are 1-5. But really, the finger that where you should be pointing is John Mara. I mean, think about it. The Giants have been 4-18 over the past couple of years. You're talking about changing GM, changing coach, you know, bad personnel decisions, whether it be the offensive line, you know, all those type of things. That's where it all adds up if you're the New York Football Giants right now. We can talk about, and also Eli, hanging on to Eli. I've always been taught that you should get rid of a player sooner rather than later. And I understand people want to talk about Eli, the 2-time Super Bowl champion and all that type of stuff. But guess what? I don't give a damn. And a lot of other people don't give a damn that Eli won two Super Bowls. Okay, so it's a what have you done for me now type of league. So point the finger upstairs.
Nick, is there validity though to what Mara is saying? Hey, Odell, talk less, play more.
No, like that's what he is. That's what he's always been. They shouldn't be surprised by this. The thing that strikes me as odd is that they're pointing to him and saying that somehow his behavior is only a reflection on him. It certainly is a reflection on him, but it's a reflection on that team. Like the team is not performing well. The coach's job, the head coach's job, is to build and to foster a winning culture. They're not doing that. And they think that you can come in and just impose a culture, which is not something that you can do. You have an offensive coordinator, you have a defensive coordinator, you have a special teams coach. The head coach's job should be managing that culture, and they're doing an awful job of that.
Well, and so maybe it seems to me yesterday, Mara sounded like a guy who made a bunch of wrong decisions and now can't do a thing about them, to the point that Damian just made a moment ago. The thing to do last year maybe was hit the reset button on the franchise. Draft a new quarterback, let Eli go, trade Odell away, and start over again. They didn't do that. Was that a mistake?
It seems like it was a mistake, but not only did they not do it, they started to do it. John Mara, as Damian was pointing out earlier, John Mara signed off on benching Eli. Then all of a sudden the backlash got a little too hot, and then he put Eli back in, and then they're all in on Eli. I feel like that initial equivocation on that decision is what led to them making the decision that they did in the draft.
I feel like I've been asking this question now like 3 weeks in a row. Is Odell Beckham part of the problem or part of the solution ultimately for the Giants?
Well, listen, Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the few players on that roster that you actually turn into C. He's one of the best players in the National Football League. Remember when he went out last year, that's really when the Giants started tanking. Nobody likes the antics and the things that Odell Beckham says publicly. But if you're going to sit there and point to Odell Beckham, the reason why the Giants are 1-5 on the field, then I recommend you go get your eyes checked.
Fair enough. He may not be the reason that they're 1-5, but I will ask the same question. Is he part of the solution or is he part of the problem?
No, I think he's absolutely part of the solution. Like, you cannot have that type of talent and be part of the problem. He has talent, and again, this goes back to management and leadership from the head coach on up. Like, you create an organization where things are permissible and those things will happen. You can't all of a sudden flip out because Odell Beckham is lashing out.
He's always lashing out. You think someone should be responsible for keeping Odell from behaving the way that he does?
No. No.
Look, Tom Coughlin couldn't do that.
No, I'm not saying someone should be responsible for it. I'm saying that if you are true to a culture that you want to instill, you have to behave in that way all the time. You can't behave that way only when you're losing. When they're winning and Odell is out in the media and acting in Odell ways, no one has anything to say about it. Now all of a sudden they want to point the finger at him because they want the heat off of them.
The truth is they've done very little winning with Odell, and that's just the reality. They had the one winning season, and he became and look, no one is arguing the greatness of Odell as a player. And then maybe at the end of the day, what it really does come back to is they made the wrong decision to stay with the quarterback, didn't they?
Absolutely, because listen, we've had this conversation ad nauseum about Saquon Barkley, and no one is dismissing his greatness. But in a passing league where the premium is at the quarterback position, you got to take the quarterback. You got to take the quarterback, and the Giants had the opportunity to kind of bridge to the future with the quarterback.
And they didn't do it. Okay, these guys are here all morning long. We are just getting started. Still to come, Celtic fans enjoying this year's opener a lot more than last year's. Is a healthy Celtics team poised to dominate the East? We might have that answer just one game in. Plus, one swing of the bat changed the game in Houston last night, and the Red Sox grab a 2-1 lead. Did the decisions that led to it make all the difference? That answer's next. Get up, ESPN.
Geico.